Gettysburg is a vivid, bustling town in Pennsylvania, about 80 miles northwest of Washington, D.C. In the 19th century, the town was only of strategic importance as a cross-point of 8 roads. The summer of 1863 was hot and dusty in this part of Pennsylvania. So was June 30, the day before the accidental Battle of Gettysburg. South Mountain. Behind these mountains, the Confederate Army of the South, under the command of General Robert E. Lee, had begun a new campaign into the North to deal the final blow to the enemy, the Unionists of the North. But Lee had no idea where the Unionist army was. The Unionists followed Lee on the eastern side of South Mountain. A Unionist cavalry brigade under the command of John Buford was on a scouting mission just outside Gettysburg. On Cemetery Ridge, Buford and his men spotted a group of infantry of the Confederates from the south near the Lutheran Seminary. That first sight contact lasted very briefly. The Confederates withdrew. But Buford knew they would return the next day with the whole army. He used this cupola of the Lutheran Seminary as a sentry. John Buford did 3 things. First, he sent scouts west and north. Second, he wrote a message to the Unionist main force to advance on Gettysburg very quickly. And third, he had his horsemen dismounted and let them make a defense line very quickly. They dug in and laid breastworks. When Buford heard from his scouts that the Confederates of the South were also approaching from the north, he had to establish a defense line here and here. That first defense line was about 500 meters west of Seminary Ridge and 2 miles from Cemetery Ridge, the high ground south of Gettysburg the Unionists surely wanted to hold. That night, few of Buford's dismounted troops slept. The first shot on July 1 was fired at 7:30 a.m. Fierce fighting soon broke out along the Gettysburg pike, around McPherson's farm and in the Herb's woods. The Confederates of the South kept coming, with more and more troops. John Buford's cavalrymen struggled. They resisted the approach of 2 Confederate infantry brigades on the Chambersburg pike until the nearest Union infantry brigade began to arrive at the battlefield. That brigade was under the command of the respected senior general John Reynolds. The general himself led his men into battle. But after only 1 minute he was hit by a Confederate bullet, mortally wounded. John Reynolds fell off his horse. The battle continued and moved to the railroad cut in the ridge. Both the South and North used the unfinished railroad as cover during the battle that went up and down. Confederates also attacked the Unionist troops from the north. So the fierce fighting moved to Oak Ridge and Oak Hill. Very many troops were killed or wounded here on that warm day, July 1, 1863. Despite fierce fighting, the Unionist troops at Barlow's Knoll, north of Gettysburg, couldn't hold the line of defense. The Unionist line collapsed also on McPherson's Ridge, Oak Ridge and Oak Hill. The Confederate Army of the South was now in possession of the high ground west and north of Gettysburg. Most Union troops beat a hasty retreat through the streets of Gettysburg to the heights south of the town, Gulp's Hill, Cemetery Ridge and Riddle Round Top. Good ground to defend and to hold. This witnessed saw the retreat of the Unionist army through the streets of Gettysburg. The Army of Northern Virginia didn't have the guts to attack the Unionist positions on Cemetery Ridge that very end of the day. Had they done so, the Battle of Gettysburg might have turned out differently.